What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another NFL video. It is time for week number 12 here in the NFL. We got a great show put together for you guys here today. I'm excited to get into. Going to break down each of these games off of the Sunday slate. Before we dive into those guys, we do need to jump over there to the Guy Boston Sports website. After each of these videos, that's where I lay out all the final plays, all the bets that I am rolling with off of the Sunday slate. So make sure you check that out, guys. It's going to be right down there in that pinned comment. You'll find a link that'll send you right over there to the Guy Boston Sports website. So let's go ahead and jump over there. Let's recap our plays from week number 11. Let's see what we put in then and how that ended up going down. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and act like week 11 wasn't disappointing, man, because it sure was. It was our third losing week of the season, just our third losing week. So we will take that, right? Heading into week 12, profitable in 8 weeks, only not profitable in 3 of those weeks, man. We'll definitely take that. But 5-8 overall in the day, not the prettiest look, man. I mean, we had some tough losses. That's what really is disappointing as well. Josh Jacobs ends up getting hurt, so he doesn't get close to those 80 yards that we needed from him. This one down here, too, we took the Ravens laying 7.5 at a full unit, put that in at plus money, and they win by 7. So we lose that one on the hook. I guess the one positive that we can look at here, looking at these, is a lot of these plays that we lost as half unit plays, and a lot of these that we won, we put in as full units. So on the day overall, even though it was a 5-8 day, we only lose 3/4 of a unit overall. So we can take that, a little bit of solace there on a overall just rough day. And the other positive thing here, and I'm going to be looking at one random commenter down below, and that is going to be Rex Houston. Make sure you get with me, man. My contact's going to be down there in the description. You'll also find it over there on the website underneath the final plays. So either hit me up over there on Instagram or send me an email, man, and I'll get that $20 sent out your way. Now, guys, moving forward, there will be another plus money cash out opportunity somewhere in this video, and I will let you know when we get to that point. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is comment double up down below to enter into that competition. And then if that play does end up cashing for us, pick one random commenter down below, send $20 out to you. So make sure you comment down below, double up, enter into that contest, and get that chance to win that free $20. So we're going to jump right into the slate and dive into all of these games on Sunday afternoon and into Sunday evening. Let's go ahead and start with that. Smash that like button down there for me if you can, guys. Hit subscribe if you have not already. Let's go ahead and get into this first game. And it's going to be a tough one for me to talk about, man. Looking at my Cincinnati Bengals taking on the New England Patriots. This one's going to be kicking off at 1 p.m. Now, I'm a season ticket holder, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think I'm going on Sunday, man. I haven't gone to a lot of these games this year. As soon as Burrow got hurt, I was like, here goes another season. Yeah, man, I don't know that I want to be here for this one because the Bengals are in a complete free fall at this point, man. There's no other way to put it. They've lost three straight. 7 of their 8 games that they played without Burrow starting at quarterback have resulted in losses. And if you ask me, the staff has lost complete control of this team, right? The defense is playing at a historically bad rate. Offensively, they've put up a ton of points, but the same issues still remain. Inconsistencies in the run game, along with the offensive line. These are issues that have been plaguing this team really since for years, right? Meanwhile, the Patriots, they're coming into town winners of 8 in a row, undefeated on the road this year, sitting at 5-0 in that respect, and they sit in a tie with the Broncos for first in the entire AFC, with the Colts just a half game back. So they know that they can't let up here, right? And I'm not sure that I would expect them to here in this game. It just looks to be a recipe for disaster for looking at my Bengals in this one, man, with Drake May coming in on fire for the Patriots this season, leading a Patriots passing attack that is sitting at third DVOA. In the passing game, they're sitting at eighth in terms of passing yards per game overall. So New England can get it done on the ground as well. That's what's concerning here for me. They're coming in at seventh for rushing yards per game, ninth for rushing yards per carry over their last 3 games specifically. And the Bengals, they are second from last defending the run DVOA, dead last defending the pass, and they are the worst team overall DVOA in the NFL, looking at them from a defensive standpoint. They've given up over 33 points per game over the course of the season. That is dead last in the NFL. 166 rushing yards per game, also dead last in the NFL. Third worst for both rushing yards allowed per carry and passing yards allowed per game. They are giving up the most rushing yards per carry of any team when playing at home this season. Ugh, man, New England should be able to pull away this one with ease, right? But here's the thing, man. I've been waiting for the Patriots to like have a letdown game at some point, right? I've been expecting this win streak to come to an end at some point, a road loss to come at some point. But maybe that's just a huge oversight on my part, man. I'm not sure that I would get behind this version of the Bengals to be the team that's going to get that done as well, man. Their inability to close out games, that's a problem that has carried over from last season. They look to be in need of a full rebound at this point. So the Patriots, meanwhile, man, they have a very balanced roster. A defense that's giving up the sixth fewest points per game on the year, the fourth fewest rushing yards per carry, and the fewest rushing yards overall. They're down to just 21st for passing yards allowed per game, but they have fared better over their last three. They're coming in at 16th in that regard. And we too need to keep in mind, man, that as fun as exciting as Flacco was for this Bengals team when he arrived, he's now playing through an AC joint sprain in his right shoulder, his throwing arm. It's also down his favorite targeted, Jamar Chase, who's suspended for this one due to what's just another really disappointing moment for this Bengals team, man. If you sense my frustration talking about the Bengals, I'm gonna tell you why, man. You know, this is a Bengals team that is only 3 years removed from being just minutes away from winning it all. You know what I mean? So this kind of nosedive right here as an entirety of a franchise, it's something that truly only my Bengals could accomplish, man, and I've just seen this same story play out with them in all of my years of living, man. It's disappointment after disappointment. So, all in all, I like the Patriots here in this one, but as I've been for weeks, I am leery to lay this many points with them while they are on such a streak. I do think that they cover here. I'm just not sure that I'm gonna put the money down on it, man, personally. But a few things that I would look at here in this one, and I'm not sure exactly how I want to play it, which angle I'm going to take, but I'm going to be looking at a team total of some sort in this one. Maybe a Patriots team total over. So we can find that at 28.5. We can get a 27.5 even for a little bit more juice. It should be noted though that this Bengals defense did crumble last week in crucial moments, right? Once again. But they only gave up 20 of the 34 points that were put up by the Steelers, right? Those other 14 points were off of, I think there was a pick six, yeah, and then fumble return for a touchdown too. So the defense played better last week than in recent weeks, but this Patriots offensive attack sitting at ninth overall for DVOA, it's going to present a tougher challenge, I think, than they faced last week with Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh's backup quarterback at that. So I think a Bengals team total under might be the way that I go with this one, though, man. 20.5 is where it's sitting at, or with some juice, we can look at it at 21.5 or 22.5. I think this Patriots defense is really going to give the Bengals some trouble, man. Without Chase out there, without a consistent run game, with a beat up Joe Flacco, I don't know, man. I could see this Patriots defense having some success here in this one, forcing some mistakes, forcing some turnovers from the Bengals, and holding them to a lower scoring output than what we've seen from them so far this season. I don't mind looking at the Bengals in the first half, also their team total under. I was able to get that at 9.5 earlier in the week at plus money. I'm not seeing that right now. I'm seeing a 10.5 out there. It is a little bit juice, but man, I think that they definitely start off slow in this one. Like I said, man, I think they have a lot of troubles with that Patriots defense. So that might be the way that I look at that here. I already got a smaller play, like I said, on that first half at plus money. Maybe I put another smaller play in at the full game for the Bengals team total under or the Patriots team total over. But yeah, I think end of the day, that's the only way that I'd be looking at this one here. All right, let's move on because man, it's so hard to talk about my Bengals this season, but then I ramble on for quite some time. So apologies about that, man. Next up, we're going to be looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Chicago Bears. Bears are favored in this one. The Steelers are coming in at 6-4 and on top of the AFC North at first place, but Aaron Rodgers is going to come into this one with a fractured left wrist. Doesn't require surgery though, and he is trying to play here despite that injury. Now, even still, with him in the lineup, the Steelers' passing attack has averaged just under 200 passing yards per game. They're sitting at just 22nd in that regard on the year. They're rushing for the fourth fewest yards per game as well, and they come in at 19th for total offensive DVOA. The Bears have had their troubles defensively this year, and they're sitting at just 26 for total DVOA. But a few key things to note here. They're seventh defensively for red zone touchdown percentage and fourth in time of possession over their last three games. Pittsburgh, they're just 25th offensively for red zone touchdown percentage in their last three. They are third from last for time of possession, dead last when looking at them on the road. And you also got the Bears putting up 227 passing yards per game this year. Good for 13th in the league. They are second for rushing yards per game, first over the last three games, and second for rushing yards per carry over those three as well. Steelers, man, they are getting killed through the air too, man. Dead last on the year. They're just 18th DVOA against the run. So you look at this QB matchup as well, man, and if Rodgers is a go, he's obviously banged up, but going against this Bears defense that plays man at the fifth highest rate isn't really ideal for him as well, man, as we see his numbers take a significant dip when facing man coverage as opposed to zone. Pittsburgh is playing more man than zone as well. And we've seen Caleb Williams struggle with man also, but we've also seen him exploit blitz heavy teams with his ability to move around and outside the pocket. Steelers blitz at the sixth highest rate. Chicago, they're giving up just the fifth fewest sacks on the year, man. So Pittsburgh, they're just 2-3 after starting the year 4-1, right? They're coming into this one sitting at 6-4, like I said. Kind of stumbling over these last five games. While the Bears, they've won three in a row, seven of their last eight. Chicago's 3-1 straight up on the year at home so far. The Steelers are 2-2 on the road, just 1-3 against the spread when playing away. So I like the Bears here, man. They've played the better ball to this point. They're coming in with all the momentum, and they're home here as well. So I'm honestly kind of surprised that they're only laying 2.5 points here. Give me Chicago on the side. Next up, looking at the Indianapolis Colts traveling to Kansas City, taking on the Chiefs. Man, I think if you told anyone at the beginning of the year that the Colts would be 8-2 and fighting for first in the AFC heading into Week 12, while the Chiefs sat at 5-5, fighting to keep playoff hopes alive, well, I think most would have called you crazy and think that you had those scenarios flipped, right? But here we are, man. Here we are. Indianapolis, they bounced back with an overseas win last week over the Falcons after suffering their second loss of the year versus Pittsburgh the week before. They've won 5 of their last 6, but they've gone just 2-1 against the spread in their last 5, man. And if we're being honest, they've had some issues from these last 2 weeks. Looking at them, they needed a come from behind rally to beat the 3-7 Atlanta Falcons last week. But at the end of the day, man, wins are wins, right? And the Chiefs, on the other hand, have struggled to find ways to pull out dubs in tight contests now in back-to-back weeks themselves. 2 straight road losses have them on the outside looking in as far as the AFC playoff picture is concerned. Crazy, the Chiefs. But hey, man, losses to the Broncos in Denver, or to the Bills in Buffalo over the last 2 weeks for the Chiefs, that feels a lot better than a loss to the Steelers in Pittsburgh and a close win over a lowly Falcons team, in my opinion. Kansas City, also when looking at them, they're 4-1 both straight up and against the spread when playing at home. Their struggles have really been on the road this season, right? At home, they've allowed the fewest points per game, the third fewest passing yards, and the eighth fewest rushing yards per game. Man, it's loud there. That is the loudest stadium that I've ever been in my life, and that home field advantage is very, very real, man. So it's no wonder that that defense is playing so superb when playing at home there, man. It makes a lot of sense. Like I said, it's just hard to hear. It's hard to hear. I remember going to the championship game a couple years ago, man. There was a couple times where I was legit just like, oh, like it is loud. It is loud, man. Anyways, let's get back on track here, man. This looks like a game that we could see some struggles from Daniel Jones, though, at the end of the day, if you ask me, man. I think, with that crowd noise like I just talked about and the pressure that Kansas City should be able to get on him, they're getting pressure on the quarterback at the eighth highest rate and they're blitzing at the fifth highest frequency. And we see him struggle, man, with both of these, right? His numbers dip, when facing pressure, when facing teams that blitz a good bit. We see as far as his yards per attempt, his completion percentage, his DVOA, his EPA, all of those drop, right? He struggles with man coverage as well, and we're going to see the Chiefs look to play more man than zone here in this one. So, with that said, though, man, Mahomes does struggle with man coverage as well, right? And the Colts have played in man at the ninth highest frequency as compared to just 24th for zone. And we can't forget one important thing here, man, in this one, right? Let's not forget who that defensive coordinator is over there in Indianapolis, man. Know those of us here in Cincinnati sure haven't, right, man? Good old sweet Lou, man, Lou Anarumo, and how much success has that man had against Mahomes and company over the last few years, especially when he's been given adequate talent to work with, which he has over there with that Indianapolis Colts defense. So he's got a good track record against this team. But ultimately, man, I think the Chiefs are the look here as far as the side. I will say that, man. I do like looking at the total more than anything, though, in this one, man. 50.5 for a total here just feels crazy high to me, man. And I know that these two are capable offenses. I get that, but I think these defenses are being slightly overlooked here. And consider this as well, man. The Colts have hit under this mark at a 50% rate on the road so far this year. The Chiefs have gone under this number in 5 straight, 8 of their 10 games played this year, and in 4 of their 5 played at home. So I'm going to be looking at the under here in this one. Give me that under 50.5. Next up, I'm going to be looking at the New York Jets. They're taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, it's a pretty interesting one to look at as far as the side is concerned, with that line being so large. We got Baltimore favored by 13.5 in this one. They are surging, right? 4 straight wins to get to 500 and sitting at 5-5 coming into Week 12, just 1 game back of first place in the AFC North. They've covered in 3 of their last 4 games. They've gone 4-1-1 in their last 6 games when they're playing defenses in the bottom 10 for scoring, like they will be here against the Jets. Now, looking at New York, they lost last week to the red hot Patriots after 2 straight wins prior to that. They're sitting at 4-1 over their last 5 games against the spread, though. And they covered a 13.5 point line versus New England. Now they lost by 13, so it was right there, but they did end up covering that one. For as poor as they've been, man, they've only failed to cover once this year when given at least 5.5 points, going 4-1 to the number when facing that scenario this season. So all this does have me hesitant to pull the trigger, but I'm still looking towards Baltimore here or nothing at all, man. Their defense was a weak point to open up the year, but as the season has progressed and players have returned from injury, this unit has drastically improved. 23rd on the year for points allowed per game, second over their last three. Like, that's a big improvement, man. 24th for passing yards allowed on the year, 20th for rushing yards allowed, but in the last three games, 12th and 11th, respectively. Once again, pretty significant improvement. So they're first for defensive red zone touchdown percentage, fourth for defensive turnover rate. Jets, they're coming in at 16th for turnover rate on the year, 23rd for red zone touchdown percentage, 28th over their last three games. They're 23rd for rushing yards allowed per game, and they've been giving up just under 5 yards per carry on the ground in their last five. Now they're going to see Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry play host to them here, right? Baltimore's fourth for rushing yards per game, second for rushing yards per carry on the year. It's a lot of points, man, but I got to lean with the Ravens on the side here. And it's another one where I'm not sure that I pull the trigger, right? The Ravens just burned me last week with a 7.5 point spread. I'm not sure that I can get there in back-to-back weeks, man, but that's the direction that I'd have to be leaning. It's Baltimore or nothing here. Before we dive into this next game, I do want to take a second to talk to you guys real quick. Let's jump over to the Fade Me store site-wide, up to 50% off our Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale. And there's just so much to choose from. Let's go ahead and look at these new arrivals real quick. Man, Ev has done some work with this merch, man, and they're so comfortable. That is the best thing about these. And you got so many different options to choose from. We got t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got hats. We got a little bit of everything for you, right? We got some tank top action going on. There's some shorts in here as well. Yep, there goes some shorts too. Man, a little bit of everything. We can check out some of the best sellers from all time too. The GMBLR series, man, I love those a lot, man. It's one of those things. It's like if you know what it stands for, man. If you know, right? The Just Bet It. Man, just so much cool stuff over here, guys. And then one of my all-time favorites, the Scared Money Don't Make Money. I was just rocking that for my college basketball video last night. So yeah, one of my favorites of all time. Like I said, 50% off, guys. That shirt starting at $14.99, hat starting at $12.99. That's running from Wednesday, November 22nd to December 2nd. That's a Tuesday. One full week. So make sure on Wednesday you guys put some eyes on that and get you some awesome merch. Help support the channel, man. We really do appreciate that a ton. And you get to rock some great quality clothing in the process, man. So let's go ahead and dive right back into these games, man. Next up, I'm looking at Seattle, the Seahawks taking on the Tennessee Titans now. This is another one with a large spread, but when you look at these teams, it obviously makes sense why, right? We got Seattle coming in 7-3 on the year. They are an impressive 8-2 against the spread, and they have covered in 5 straight games now. Tennessee, they're sitting at just 1-9 straight up, 4-6 to the number. They have covered in 2 straight, but they've lost 5 in a row now straight up. So I will say this though, man, we should give them credit for these back-to-back covers coming into this one, considering they came against a good 7-4 Chargers team and then a Texans team that's won 4 of their last 5. So Tennessee's not playing horrible, but even still, this is a Titans team that has put up just 15 points per game over their last 3 games, right? Third worst in the NFL. So not getting it done on the offensive end by any means. They're sitting at 26 for passing yards per game in those three, 28th for rushing yards. So they're still having a ton of trouble on that side of the ball. Seattle, they're seventh for points allowed over their last three. Second when looking at them on the road this year. Defensively, they've been pretty stout on the road, man. Fourth for passing yards allowed, seventh for rushing yards allowed. So you got a Tennessee offense that's already struggling. Not really ideal looking at this one. Offensively, the Seahawks have put up the most points per game over their last three. They're sitting at third in that regard on the year. Their first DVOA in the pass game, and they have improved on the ground as well, coming in at 10th for rushing yards per game over their last three. Tennessee, they're giving up the seventh most yards on the ground per game this year. They sit at 20th in that regard over their last 3 games. They've given up 27 points per game over those three as well, 23rd in the league. They've given up the fourth most points per game overall on the season. So it's another one, man, and I'm just not sure that I can get there when looking at the side. How do you look anyway but Seattle here, right? You know what I mean? First for defensive DVOA, fifth offensively, first overall for total DVOA in the NFL. Tennessee sitting at 25th defensively, 31st offensively, dead last overall. So you got the best team in the league taking on the worst team in the league as far as DVOA metrics are concerned. So it'd be a lean towards Seattle, but it's another one that maybe we just look at a team total over here instead, right? Sam Darnold should have a day here against this defense that lines up in zone coverage 73% of their snaps. Darnold's numbers across the board look much better when facing zone coverage over man. You can get a Seahawks team total anywhere from 24 to 26.5 right now, depending on the juice you want to pay. Seattle has played 3 teams in the bottom 10 for scoring defense so far this year as well. And in those games, they've averaged 35 points per game. So that's the way that I'd look at this one here. Be looking at a Seahawks team total over. Next up, Detroit Lions hosting the New York Giants. That's the third straight game that we have here with lines of at least 13 points, right? We got the Lions coming in here as a 13-point home favorite. They've gone 3-1, both straight up and against the spread at home so far this season, while New York has gone 3-3 against the spread on the road. They failed to win one outright, though. 0-6 straight up when playing away from home so far this year. They've also lost 5 straight games, but they have covered in their last 2. While we've seen the Lions go 2 and 3, both straight up and against the spread, looking at them in their last 5 games. But man, this is just a spot where Detroit simply has to have it, man. They can't afford to drop another one here, and they got to win these games like this that they should win. So looking at this matchup, they should be able to find some success here, man, against this Giants defense, right? Dating back to the beginning of last year, Goff has a 30-1 touchdown to interception ratio when facing man coverage. The Giants run man at the second highest frequency across the league. New York is just 20th for sacks, 18th for QB hits, 17th for hurries. So I don't like their chances of slowing down Goff and this offense coming into this one off of a really tough loss to a really tough Philadelphia defense last week, right? It was a bad showing from their offense. So I think the Lions bounce back here, man. I like them on the side, but again, I'm just not sure that I can get there laying 13 points, man. You would wanna look at a team total over with the lines, but then you look at that, man, and there's not much value to be desired there either. We can get a 30.5 and pay some juice, or we can look at 31.5 at plus money. So, just not really ideal, man. I think that they can put some points up here, but what if it's a 29-10 type game? You know what I mean? It's just not a lot of value in this one here. So, it's a Detroit lean, on the side, and then I guess it's the Detroit team total over lean, a very, very slight lean, but I don't think this is one that I end up playing, guys. This is probably just a pass for me. Then next up, be looking at the Minnesota Vikings. They're taking on the Green Bay Packers, and man, some of these games just feel really tricky this week, right? And here goes another. Green Bay bounced back with a win in New York over the Giants after 2 ugly losses prior to that. But I mean, that was an ugly win last week as well, right? New York outgained the Packers through the air and on the ground. They just lost the turnover battle, and the Packers were able to sneak away with a 7-point win, right? Green Bay is now 6-3-1 on the year. They've covered in just one of their last 8 games now, and they've covered no line larger than 3 points over the course of the entire season so far this year. The Vikings, they're only 4-6 straight up, and they've lost 4 of their last 5, but that lone win did come over division rival on the road, the Detroit Lions. Now they get another divisional rival here on the road in the Green Bay Packers. Now, both of these teams have struggled offensively as of late, man, with the Vikings sitting at 22nd for points per game over their last 3, averaging just 21 points. Packers are the third worst team in football over their last 3, though, as far as scoring is concerned, just 15.7 points per game. But defensively, these are some pretty tough units, man. Minnesota sitting at 4th for defensive red zone touchdown percentage. They're allowing the 7th fewest yards through the air per game this year, and they sit at 12th DVOA defending the run. Green Bay, they're sitting at 9th for total defensive DVOA. They sit inside the top 10 for passing and rushing yards allowed per game on the year, 6th and 2nd, respectively, when looking at those categories when they are playing at home. They're giving up just 15 points per game this year at home and also over their last 3 games, both of those ranking 4th in the league. The Packers just keep losing guys though, man, right? Josh Jacobs is now battling a knee injury. Tucker Kraft is already done for the year on top of it. JJ McCarthy has looked rough for Minnesota on their end. Also, the lowest QBR of any QB that started at least 5 games this year, the highest interception percentage, worst completion percentage. And then flipping back to Green Bay, Love has fared better against the zone than man. And we see the Vikings play zone at a 78% frequency. That is third highest in the league. But he does struggle with the blitz and with pressure. Minnesota getting pressure on the quarterback at the 10th highest frequency and blitzing at the highest rate across the NFL. So, all in all, man, I think I stay off the side. I look towards the total here in this one because, these divisional games are just always funky, right? We've seen these two hit over in 3 straight head to head meetings now, but I think we see them buck the trend here, man. I'm going to be leaning towards the under looking at this game with these defenses in mind and the struggles of these offenses coming into this one. Next up, moving into the 4 p.m. games, looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Man, Arizona's just been a mess as of late, right? Losing 7 of their last 8. They've dropped to 3-7 on the year after starting off the year 2-0. They failed to cover in back-to-back losses. They've lost those games by a combined 41 points. Jacksonville, they're sitting at 6-4 on the year, and they've felt pretty inconsistent this season, and I've struggled calling the side with them for much of the season, I feel like, man. But with this line sitting at only 2.5, it feels a little wild to me still. Sure, the Jags are just 2-3 over their last 5 games, but look at those losses. A surging Texans team, the Rams, the Seahawks. So these are at the least 2 playoff teams, and the one that's a maybe in Houston, well, they boast one of, if not the best defense in the NFL. So the Jags have some impressive wins under their belt this year as well, man. They beat that Texans team earlier in the year. They also beat the 49ers in San Francisco. They took down a much improved Panthers team, the Chiefs, and then, yeah, beat down of a good Chargers team last week, man. So they sit at 10th in the league when looking at strength of schedule, third when looking at their strength of victory. So it's been an impressive season for the Jags, even though it doesn't feel like it from the outside looking in. They've had a tough schedule, and they fared pretty well against it, man. The Cardinals, they're not getting much pressure on the quarterback, so I think Lawrence can have a decent game here, but the Jags have been really tough on the ground, right? 8th on the year and averaging 145 rushing yards per game over their last 3. Arizona is just 25th for rushing yards allowed over their last 3 games, 18th for rushing yards per carry on the year. They're sitting at 24th DVOA defending the run, so Jacksonville's coming in at 6 DVOA in the run game, and then you flip it over and look at the Cardinals. Jacoby Brissett doesn't handle zone coverage well, really, at all, man, and we've seen the Jaguars run zone at the ninth highest rate this season. They've blitzed at the ninth highest rate as well. And while they sit at just 28th for sacks, they're fifth for hurries, and this Cardinals line has had its struggles, right? 12th in terms of hurries, but 28th for both hits and sacks allowed. So the 2.5 point line has me leery, like I'm missing something, right? Like, why is it so low? But I simply think the books are just slightly undervaluing the Jaguars here, maybe even overvaluing the Cardinals a little bit. So I'm going to lean with Jacksonville here, laying those 2.5 points. Next up, looking at the Cleveland Browns taking on the Las Vegas Raiders, and we're going to get to see Shador Sanders, man, here in his first start for the Browns. He made his debut last week. This Raiders defense has played better in recent weeks, though, so it could be a tough debut as a starter for him here, man. He went just 4 of 16 last week when he stepped in for Gabriel. Vegas is 14th on the year for total defensive DVOA, and they've been pretty solid against the run, especially at home, sitting at 10th for rushing yards allowed per game, first for rushing yards allowed per carry. So I'm just not sure how you get behind Cleveland here in this one, right? You'd like to see them lean in on the run game, but this is an area that the Raiders are actually pretty decent in. And for as good as the Browns defense has been this year, they've given up a ton of points on the road, just under 30 points per game, just 28th overall in the league. So, I don't know, man. I'm not sure where I want to go with this one exactly, but I'd have to lean with Vegas on the side. I just can't see Sanders somehow making a huge leap from last week to this week. Not with this offense, especially, man. But it's still hard to look to the Raiders, right? To back the Raiders here with how poor that they've looked on the offensive end themselves. So then it's like, well, maybe we look towards the under in this one. Two atrocious offenses, two decent defenses. I just can't get there either, guys. 36.5 points is stupid low, man. That's stupid low. And I don't see a ton of fireworks in this game per se, but sweating out an under sitting at 36.5, that's just not where I want to be on a Sunday afternoon. So this is probably also going to be a pass for me. I would lean towards the under, but if I'm gonna get it higher, man, and closer to 40, then what's the point, in my opinion? That's just way too low. Yeah, not sure where to go with this one, man. This is gonna be a pass for me, most likely. Next up, looking at the Atlanta Falcons, they're taking on the New Orleans Saints. Now, multiple larger spread games on the slate this week, multiple ugly games as well. And here's another one, man. The 2-8 Saints are favored here for just the second time this season as favorites, right? They're favored over the 3-7 Falcons. Atlanta has dropped 5 in a row now, covering just once in their last 5 games. New Orleans, they beat the Panthers in Carolina their last time out, and they won by 10 as road dogs. They're going to be coming into this one off of a bye. They've covered just once over their last 5 games, man. And while New York has looked decent defensively over their last 3, specifically giving up the seventh fewest yards to the air, sitting at third for rushing yards allowed per carry, and 13th for points allowed per game, offensively, they're still a complete mess, right? Dead last for points per game at home this year, third from last on the year, and dead last over their last 3 games, averaging just 10 points per game. They're a more respectable 14th for passing yards per game over their last 3, but they're sitting at just 26 DVOA in the passing game on the year, 31st for rushing DVOA. They're dead last for red zone touchdown percentage this year, and they've had the third highest turnover rate over their last 3 games coming into this one. You look at Atlanta, they're sitting at 12th for defensive turnover rate, 8th for defensive red zone touchdown percentage when looking at them in their last 3 games. They're 12th for total defensive DVOA on the year, and on the road this year, they're sitting at 8th for points allowed per game, second for passing yards allowed, and first in terms of defensive turnover rate. You look at New Orleans defensively, they're running more zone covers than man, 11th in frequency as compared to 23rd for man. Veteran Kirk Cousins, man, has played better versus zone over man coverage, and he's done well against teams that blitz heavy as well, man. New Orleans sitting at 7th for blitz rate, so give me Atlanta catching the points here on the road. Now, full disclosure, they have burned me a couple times this season, but it just feels like too good of a look for the Falcons, man. I'll take the veteran quarterback with the better defense in a divisional matchup here any day of the week. Real quick, before we move on to the next game, I did want to jump over here to the Guy Boston Sports website. I want to talk to you guys about becoming a member of the website real quick. Now, right now, we're offering a excellent deal. You can come on right up here, hit that sign up button. You get the all sports access. You're going to get the NFL dashboard and access to the NBA dashboard as well. Also, access to that MLB dashboard once that baseball season starts back up again. But let's go ahead and dive into this football dashboard just a little bit, guys, and all the interesting aspects of it. You can see we got the breakdown up top of the team, their win rate, cover rate, over hit rate, all of that jazz, right? What the line is sitting at. But then we scroll down and it just starts breaking this game down and all of the games on the slate. in such a great manner, man. It really just kinda consolidates all your research into one spot here, which I really, really love. I use this thing a ton. I'm bouncing between this and Outlier on a regular, which we also have a nice little deal for you guys. You can get a free 7-day trial for Outlier as well. Make sure you check that out down there in the description. But yeah, looking at this dashboard, we can see the quarterback matchup right off the rip. I love looking at this because we can break down how each of these quarterbacks are playing against zone coverage, against man coverage, when they're facing pressure, when they're facing blitz, and then we can scroll on down and see what those defenses are doing on a regular against each of these quarterbacks, right? So that's a great place to start, but then it just keeps getting better. Just keeps getting better. I love Ed for putting this together for us, man. What a great guy, man. Look at this though. The offensive rushing schemes, right? Beautiful thing. It shows which each of these teams, what are they running out of the most, right? Inside zone, outside zone, man duo, and then how the defense is doing in terms of yards per carry against that specific scheme. So we love to see that, man. So already right off the rip, you got two very valuable pieces of information as far as how that offense is going to play against that defense. And then we scroll on down here and we got all the statistics broke down for us as far as offensive statistics, defensive statistics, and they're broke down by season rank, home rank, last 3 games, right? And then obviously the away side on the other side, last 3 games, the away side, and their season rankings. You keep on scrolling down, we get a matchup analyzer down here that's breaking down each of the players on that offensive side, the skill position players, and how their matchup is looking against this defense that they're going to be facing up against. And we keep on going down and we get the DVOA rankings, right? Tons of information here on this site, right? As far as this dashboard is concerned, like I said, for each and every single game. And then also, if you sign up right now for that all sports member access, you're going to get that NBA dashboard as well. So here's the best part about that, guys. If you type in the offer code TREY for your boy Trey, you're going to get that first month for $4.99. So an excellent deal, man. Please take advantage of that, guys. That research tool is amazing. So like I said, man, $4.99 for your first month. You really cannot beat that. And it gives you a little, opportunity to try it out, see if you like it, man. So really nothing to lose there. Make sure you check that out, guys. Let's go ahead and dive into the next game. I'm going to be looking at the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Dallas Cowboys. It's another classic divisional rivalry here, man, in this one, and it's one that as of late the Eagles have really owned this head-to-head matchup. They've won 4 of the last 5 games now between these two. Philly, they're coming into this one 8-2 straight up on the year, 7-3 against the spread. Boys, they sit at just 4-5-1 outright, 5-5 to the number. Philly, they've gone 4-1 on the road this year, both straight up and against the spread. Dallas, 2-1-1 straight up at home, 2-2 to the number. Eagles have won 4 straight, and that's impressive in its own right, but doing so scoring just 16 and 10 in back-to-back weeks is a little concerning, man. This defense has been tough over the last 3 games. First for points allowed, 13th defending the pass, but third against the run. On the road this year, 18th for passing yards allowed, 17th for rushing yards allowed per game. And offensively, 19th for passing yards per game on the road, 29th for rushing yards per game, and 19th in terms of points scored per game when playing away. They're just 30th in passing yards per game, man. 16th for red zone touchdown percentage and 20th for points scored per game when looking at them over their last 3 games. So Philadelphia, they're getting the wins, man, but they're not really blowing us away in doing so, right? You look at Dallas on their end, and they've been prolific offensively for much of the season. First for passing yards per game this year. They're 12th for rushing yards, but 8th when looking at them on the ground at home. They're putting up just under 30 points per game on the year. That's good for second place in the league. And at home, they are tops in the NFL, scoring on average 35 points per game. Defensively is where they've had their issues, man, as they've given up the second most points per game and the third most yards through the air per game as well. They're sitting at just 26 for rushing yards allowed per outing also. So I think this is one that I like looking at the total because honestly, man, I want to get there with Dallas. I think that they have a good chance here in this game. I just don't know that I trust their defense end of the day. So I don't know. I think it's telling, right, that that line is sitting way up there at 47.5, even with the Eagles' defensive mind. With that said, I think it's also telling that Philly's only laying 3 points in this one, considering where each of these teams stand heading into this match. So, all things considered, I'm going to lead Dallas on the side with a lean towards the over as well here in this one. And that's going to move us into our Sunday night football matchup. Last game on the Sunday slate, looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Los Angeles Rams, man. And in my opinion, this is a great match, right, to cap off of our Sunday slate. It's featuring a Rams team that sits at 8-2 straight up. They're tied for first in the NFC, 7-3 against the spread. They've gone 4-1 so far this year at home. The Bucks are 6-4 straight up, 5-5 to the number. They've gone 4-2 both straight up. They've gone 4-2 both straight up and against the spread on the road this year. But the thing is, man, after a 5-1 start, the injury bug has really hit them hard, and they've since dropped 3 of their last 4. All that considered, though, this does look like a matchup that favors Mayfield ultimately, man. He's playing significantly better across the board, facing zone over man coverage. And we've seen the Rams line up in zone at the 8th highest frequency this year as compared to man at just the 25th highest rate. On the other end, Tampa is blitzing at the 3rd highest frequency. They're 6th in terms of pressure frequency. My biggest concern for them is their ability to shut down the run in this one. They're a solid 7th DVOA defending the run, but the Rams run from a man duo scheme at the 4th highest frequency this year. Tampa's just 28th in terms of yards per carry allowed from this zone. So, like I said, man, 7th DVOA against the run, 8th DVOA defending the pass, and their 7th total defensive DVOA. But the Rams, they're a powerhouse, right? Top to bottom, and they look like the best team overall to the NFL in this point. And I don't know. I just get this feeling that the Bucks are going to hang here in this one, man. Full game. This one does look scary to me, but I am really intrigued at looking at the first half in this one, man. We've seen Tampa Bay keep things pretty tight in just about every contest this year. They've only gone into the half, trailing by more than 4 points just twice this season. We can get a Tampa Bay plus 4.5 in the first half at minus 125, but I like looking at it at plus money, guys, at plus 3.5. And this is going to be my plus money cash out for the week. Let's go ahead and jump over to Outlier. I want to look at this one a little bit more. We can see over here on Outlier, we see the Rams, covering that 3.5 point spread in the first half. They've done so in 4 straight games, but only at a 50% rate on the season. Tampa Bay covering that 3.5 point line at a 70% rate on the season as a whole. Now, looking at the Rams at home, that number does dip down to 40%. Now, they have covered in their last 2 straight heading into this one, but just 2 of the 5 games played at home overall this year. The Bucks, on the other hand, on the road, hitting at an 83% rate. 5 of the 6 games that they played on the road so far, they have covered that spread. So I like this one, like I said, at plus money. This is going to be our plus money cash out, sitting at plus 100 on FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, Bet365, and Hard Rock. We can get that across the board, man. Plus 3.5 Tampa Bay in the first half, plus 100. Make sure you comment double up down below so you can enter into this contest, guys. And if Tampa Bay does cover this spread for us, somebody's going to get them $20 sent their way. And guys, that is going to wrap it up for today. I hope you enjoyed the show today. I hope you found the content helpful and useful. And if you did, please don't forget to smash that like button on your way out. Hit subscribe if you have not already. And guys, that is going to wrap it up. I hope you all have yourselves a great week 12, and I hope you all cash out. I'm see you back next week for the next one.